of D2C success stories in India. And joining her in this conversation is someone who's not just witnessed, but pioneered the D2C revolution here in our country, Mr. Peyush Bansal, co-founder and CEO of Lenskart. In this fireside chat, Ms. Jahagirdar and Mr. Bansal will explore the evolution of the D2C landscape in India, the challenges of building and scaling consumer brands, strategies for balancing online and offline presence, and bold predictions for where this revolution is headed. Give it up once again for Ms. Jahagirdar and Mr. Bansal.
Thank you so much. It's a great crowd, early morning, not so early in the morning. And Peyush, we are back again in the same place we were last year.
Yes, thank you. This looks amazing. So many entrepreneurs and investors in one place. I think the minister really meant this has become Mahakumbh now.
It is indeed. We want to attract everyone from the length and breadth of the country and, of course, the world. So, you've had an incredible year since the last time we met. And I think I'd like to ask you some questions which will help founders who look up to you and want to emulate your success and hope to get where you reach. So what do you think was that seemingly one small or unconventional thing you did when you were building Lenskart that gave you that velocity that we see in your business today?
I don't know if the founders should look up to me. I think in the world of AI, there is no one should look up to. Everything is changing so rapidly. But in terms of, I think the only unconventional thing, Archana, that has stuck around, and I think even though things are evolving and patterns are evolving, the way we do things are evolving. But one thing in hindsight, when I look back on a lot of things that which allowed us to scale to wherever we are today, and I think will continue to help in the future, is just having a very, very deep focus on customer. I think
But just explain that a little. What does that mean? I mean, it's said, हम investors भी बहुत बोलते हैं. Consumers पे focus करो. What does it mean?
I think it really means to ask every day for the next 20 years that you'll do your startup, or 30 years, why people who are buying, why people who are not buying, and what is the real problem that you're solving. And you don't have to do this at high level or even 2 levels below. You have to go 20 levels below. And I'll give you some examples for the audience to understand from maybe our business. But, Lenskart store पे पहले भीड़ लगती थी तो लोग वेट करते थे. But people, when you ask why people are not buying, कुछ लोग बोलेंगे यार दूसरा कोई क्यू तोड़ के चला जाता है. तो we built a queue mechanism. And that solved one problem and more people started buying. And then some people come for repair. And then they said कि सर I-test की तो क्यों बना दी, repair की क्यों नहीं बनाई. तो आपने repair की भी क्यों बना दी. And today in e-commerce, today logistics में products जाते हैं and we sell a delicate product. And when we got really deep, we realized कि कुछ चश्मे टूटते हैं, but किसी को नहीं पता कहाँ टूटते हैं, बनते हुए टूटते हैं, logistics में टूटते हैं. But then we realized due to the movement of the specs in the case, it can break. And we had to develop a special clip which can withstand a lot of turbulence. तो आपको उतना deep जाना पड़ेगा to understand where, and it doesn't happen so easily. It will only become harder and harder. And similarly on the wow factor, today the world is not the same anymore. Expectations, good is not good enough. तो अभी आप अपना product sell कर रहे हो, you may think it is amazing, but is that customer going out and talking about it to 10 more people? You have to be that good. So the work has to be done. You have to go very, very deep. You have to be absolutely honest, observe. आप जाते हो एक बर्गर खाते हो, आपका पेट भर जाता है, बट क्या आप उस बर्गर के बारे में 10 लोगों को बताते हो? प्रॉब्ली नॉट, राइट. आप एक एप्पल आईफोन लेके आते हो, आप पूरी दुनिया को दिखाते हो, इंस्टाग्राम वीडियो जाते हो. सो यू हैव टू मैच दैट लेवल. एंड जो आज आपने एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट कर दी है वो तो कल उसकी हैबिट बन गई है. टुडे वी आर ऑल यूज्ड टू 10-minute डिलीवरी. तो उसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, आप उसकी बात नहीं करते. इट हैज़ टू बी एवर इवॉल्विंग. तो आई थिंक इट इज़, you have to do this at very, very deep level. It can't be a side goal. एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर आप ये किसी को दे नहीं सकते हो मेरे हिसाब से. आप जो भी अपनी वीकली मीटिंग्स करते हो, रिव्यूज करते हो, आपको ये टॉप प्रायोरिटी बनाना पड़ेगा. सेल लाना ज़्यादा ईजी है, अच्छी क्वालिटी की सेल लाना इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट, राइट? एंड yeah, so that is what I would say, that evolution is there, and I think we stuck around to that from the very beginning. Small things matter, and then it becomes part of your culture.
So I want to touch upon something that bothers founders today. I'm sure it bothers, I don't know whether it bothers you or not, marketing costs. Costs are very, very high now to get to the consumer on the digital channels. So what's the secret sauce? How have you managed to keep your costs low? How do you continue to get new customers in? What is that formula, or what is it that you would advise? Give your own example and advise to founders in the room.
A very, very relevant question. I think I have a view on this which is not so popular. See, मैंने देखा है कि एक जनरल ट्रेंड है इंडस्ट्री में, जब आपको कोई सर्विस लेनी होती है या प्रोडक्ट खरीदना होता है, आप किसी कंसल्टिंग फर्म को भी बुला लो, जब आपको खरीदना होता है तो उनका टॉप एग्जीक्यूटिव आता है आपको बेचने, राइट? टॉप मैनेजमेंट. और जितना आपका प्रमोशन होता है, आपका एक क्यारे बढ़ जाता है बेचना, राइट? एंड द मोर यू सेल द मोर यू अर्न. बट जब आप एक बार वो सर्विस खरीद लेते हो ना, आपको वो टॉप एग्जीक्यूटिव नहीं दिखता है, फिर वो जूनियर लोगों को दे दिया जाता है काम करना कि आप इसको सर्विस करो. तो फंडामेंटली न्यू कस्टमर एक्विजिशन कॉस्ट तो बढ़ेगी इन दिस मॉडल. एंड यही किसी भी बिजनेस में, आप D2C ब्रांड देख लो, चाहे आप ई-कॉमर्स देख लो, दिस इज द कॉमन पैटर्न. जब बेचना होता है तो टॉप फाउंडर के लिए वो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, टॉप एग्जीक्यूटिव्स को लगा दिया जाता है. अभी मैं अगर किसी कंपनी को फ़ोन करूँ अर्ली स्टेज स्टार्टअप को कि हमको ये सर्विस चाहिए, तो फाउंडर आ जाएगा. जब उस सर्विस में मेरे को कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, तब फाउंडर बोलेगा यार जाके देखिए वो कोई प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. तो प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, द टाइम दैट वी स्पेंड ऑन न्यू कस्टमर एक्विजिशन, आप इतना उस पर टाइम लगा रहे हो कि उसकी कॉस्ट बढ़ ही रही है, राइट? आप यू आर मैन्युफेस्टिंग दैट कॉस्ट टू गो अप इन सम वेज. इंस्टेड, इफ यू फिगर आउट अ वे एंड यू बिल्ड अ स्ट्रक्चर एंड अ ऑर्ग व्हिच केयर्स अबाउट द कस्टमर्स दैट यू हैव ऑलरेडी एक्वायर्ड एंड यू गो आउट ऑफ द वे, उसमें आप प्रॉफिट, नफा नुकसान मत देखो इतना. अभी आपने किसी को बोला, मैं सर्विस बिजनेस की बात कर रहा हूँ, आपने बोला कि मैं काम 100 रुपये में करूँगा. अभी आपके एंड से कोई प्रॉब्लम हो गया, हो रहा है, आपके 110 रुपये भी लग रहे हैं, बट यू हैव टू ऑनर योर कमिटमेंट. बिकॉज वो 110 रुपये आप नहीं लगाओगे, आज सोचोगे यार इसमें तो प्रॉफिट नहीं हो रहा, लेट मी फाइंड अनदर न्यू कस्टमर, यू कैन नेवर मेक अ प्रॉफिटेबल बिजनेस. तो द ओनली वे इन माई व्यू टू reduce new customer acquisition and survive in today's time is कि आप अपने existing customers पे focus करो, get an experience for them which is so great, you know, and I can give you innumerable examples. और आप इसका फायदा आपको शॉर्ट टर्म में नहीं होगा, राइट? एंड आपकी टीम को हमेशा लगेगा कि हम कुछ डिस्काउंट दे देते हैं, कुछ और कर लेते हैं, बिकॉज यू नो वी लाइक पीपल लाइक SEM, दे डोंट लाइक SEO, राइट? SEO में आज मेहनत करोगे तो 1 साल बाद रिजल्ट आएगा, बट SEM में तो आज पैसे डालेंगे इमीडिएटली क्लिक आ जाएगा. तो वी एज एन इंडिविजुअल आर ब्रेन्स आर वायर्ड फॉर इमीडिएट ग्रेटिफिकेशन, स्पेशली एक क्विक कॉमर्स में तो सबको सब कुछ फास्ट चाहिए, राइट? बट बिजनेस में अनफॉर्चुनेटली न्यू कस्टमर एक्विजिशन में आपको ज़्यादा दिमाग लगाना है, हाउ डू आई रिटेन माई कस्टमर्स एंड ब्रिंग देम बैक. एंड बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा, एंड आई वुड से फाउंडर का तो काम ही इसी में जाना चाहिए, उल्टा होना चाहिए, पूरी ऑग अलग चलनी चाहिए. जूनियर मोस्ट पर्सन विल सेल, senior most person will serve, and the incentive of the organization has to be on delivering enthusiastic customers and not on delivering sales. Then new customer acquisition will automatically come down in the long term.
Wow, this is a completely unique way of looking at it. So I hope all the founders here have taken note of it. But I have a slight follow-up question. Are customers difficult to please? Are they irrational? Does it take a lot?
बट उनका तो राइट है ना इरेशनल होना. आई मीन व्हाई शुड दे सेटल? अगर दे एज ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आपके पास 10,000 रुपये हैं तो ये कहना मुश्किल होगा कि आर यू शुड नॉट एक्सपेक्ट मोर. देर इज नो इरेशनैलिटी अबाउट इट. आई थिंक आप नहीं करोगे तो कोई और करेगा, राइट? आप अपॉर्चुनिटी दे रहे हो किसी और को करने की. आई डोंट थिंक यू कैन ब्लेम द कस्टमर. आई फॉर श्योर थिंक दैट कस्टमर्स हैव अ राइट टू एक्सपेक्ट. We have a right to set their expectation right and keep delivering. एंड आपको बहुत डीप में जाके कोर लेवल में समझना पड़ेगा कि आपका वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन क्या है. आधे टाइम तो हम लोग पैसा लगा रहे होते हैं चीज़ों में जो कस्टमर को मैटर ही नहीं करते.
That's a good thing. So
Right.
can you give some examples of
तो
that?
अभी जैसे हम चश्मे बेचते हैं, ऑनलाइन बेचते हैं, ऑफलाइन बेचते हैं, ये करते हैं, बट इवेंचुअली तो हम चश्मा ही बेचते हैं ना, राइट? आप जब घर जाते हो आपकी जेब में एक स्पेक्टिकल केस है, एक चश्मा है. तो इफ आई पुट ऑल माई मनी ऑन एवरीथिंग एल्स बट माई स्पेक्टिकल क्वालिटी इज नॉट ग्रेट, will you ever get your new customer acquisition cost low? No. तो you and some of these investments are again long term. आपको अभी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात हो रही थी, मिनिस्टर जी ने कहा यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट इन क्वालिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट, यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट इन ड्यूरेबिलिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट. जो अपने 1,000 रुपये या 2,000 रुपये खर्च कर रहा है आपके प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस को लेने में, उसके लिए तो उसमें 2 रुपये भी बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड यू हैव टू फील दैट पेन कि उसके लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट योर मनी इन मेकिंग श्योर कि उसको जो लॉन्ग टर्म वाव मिलेगा ना उससे, दैट इज वॉट इज गोइंग. दे मे नॉट से इट टुडे, इवेंचुअली वो जाएंगे, घर जाएंगे, 1 साल यूज करेंगे आपका प्रोडक्ट, उनको अच्छा लगेगा, सर्विस अच्छा लगेगा, वो घूम फिर के आपके पास आएंगे.
So like you've come back in the second edition of Startup Mahakumbh, तो wow factor था कि नहीं था? That you
Wow
returned
factor
as a
है.
customer.
वाव फैक्टर है.
That's why you returned, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let me ask a point that you raised about omni-channel. So again, it's a question that I think a lot of founders in consumer are thinking about, you know, offline, online. How do you get omni-channel? When do you start offline? You know, how do people answer? How should founders think about this today, given what the investors also expecting, given the consumer now also wants multi-channel sort of approach?
ये अभी बज़वर्ड हो गया है ओमनी चैनल. आई थिंक ऐसा कोई रूल नहीं है कि कब आपको ओमनी चैनल जाना है. इवेंचुअली द वर्ड इटसेल्फ हैज अ प्रॉब्लम, राइट? द चैनल इज नॉट ओमनी, द कस्टमर इज ओमनी, तो द वर्ड शुड बी ओमनी कस्टमर, राइट? इवेंचुअली व्हाट many of us forget is, and I think it's difficult for entrepreneurs also because market भी ऐसे ही सवाल पूछता है, investor भी वैसे ही सवाल पूछता है, employee भी वैसे ही. आप अपनी पूरी org को omni channel बनाते हो but omni customer नहीं बनाते. अभी अगर आपको iPhone खरीदना है, आप Amazon से खरीदो या आप Chroma से खरीदो या आप Apple Store से खरीदो, खरीद तो आप iPhone रहे हो, राइट? तो उसमें customer is the same, the channel is not the same. So problem तो terminology में ही है. एंड देन हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हम बना देते हैं ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन, फिर हमारी रिपोर्टिंग को हम बना देते हैं ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन. इन्वेस्टर भी पूछता है ऑनलाइन प्रॉफिटेबल है, ऑफलाइन नॉन प्रॉफिटेबल है, राइट? तो पूरा मार्केटिंग में ये मार्केटिंग ऑनलाइन, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग इज ऑनलाइन एंड ऑफलाइन टीवी मार्केटिंग इज ऑफलाइन. तो टेक्निकली ओमनी ये कोई सवाल ही नहीं है. You know, this is a wrong question for investors to ask and founders to answer कि आपका कितना बिजनेस ऑनलाइन है, कितना बिजनेस ऑफलाइन है, आपका क्या चैनल से क्या है. चैनल तो इवॉल्व होंगे, you know, it has evolved, it will continue to evolve. What is not at the core of it is that the customer is the same, and that customer we have to keep an eyeball on. मतलब that's why, you know, कोई स्ट्रैटेजी बनाता है कि ये प्रोडक्ट को हम ऑनलाइन बेचेंगे और ये प्रोडक्ट को ऑफलाइन बेचेंगे. ऐसे होता ही नहीं है. कस्टमर्स आर वेरी वेरी शार्प टुडे. आप 10 रुपये का डिफरेंस कर दो बिटवीन ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन, यू नो, एंड इफ यू रियली आर ऑन द ग्राउंड, आपको 15 मिनट में पता चल जाएगा कि कस्टमर इज अनहैप्पी, राइट? So omni channel is the wrong term. I think you have to be omni customer. Your org has to be omni customer. Your financials have to be omni customer. And you have to go back and tell your investor कि आप मेरे से customer का metric मांगो. क्या मेरा new customer है, कितनी बार repeat आता है. Channels will keep evolving. तो omni channel is important because India में 1.4 बिलियन लोग हैं. ऑनलाइन शॉपर्स कितने हैं? 200, 300 मिलियन, 400 हो जाएंगे. 1 बिलियन लोग होंगे जो फ़ोन को यूज़ कर रहे हैं डेली. वही तो ओमनी चैनल है. दे आर यूजिंग फोन बट दे आर बाइंग इन डिफरेंट चैनल्स, बट द डिसीजन इज गेटिंग मेड ऑन द फोन. एंड द सेम कस्टमर टुडे, समटाइम्स यू बुक अ हॉलीडे ऑनलाइन, समटाइम्स यू गो टू अ ट्रैवल एजेंट, समटाइम्स यू नो वांट टू डू एन एक्सपीरियंस. तो कस्टमर को फोकस करना चाहिए. एंड आई थिंक ओनली देन omni channel can succeed. Otherwise it can only it makes you take all the wrong decisions for the customer.
So you know, the whole D2C thing has evolved significantly in the last, I would say, 3-4 years. Is there any particular technology, any trend that you'd like to highlight that you think is going to be what D2C founders or consumer founders should look out for? that'll really make a difference in their growth, their, the ability to scale rapidly?
See, Archana, what is happening right now is that while the principles are the same for the customer, rest everything has changed and is changing faster. पहले से बहुत ज़्यादा तेज़ी से change हो रहा है. एक तो social media has come into our picture, which makes our consumers lot more evolved, lot more intelligent. They know everything. Not that customers were not smart earlier, but today they are more informed. And उनके पास पता है उनको कि मेरे पास क्या क्या choices हैं. तो the bar has become very high. जो कल चल रहा था वो आगे चलने ही नहीं वाला है. एंड स्टार्टअप्स को तो बेनिफिट है बिकॉज हमारे लिए प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, हमारे पास एक हिस्ट्री है अब 10 साल की. तो जब नॉर्मली हमारे लोग सोचेंगे या हम सोचेंगे, हम देखेंगे चलो पिछले साल तक ऐसे होता था, इस साल ये 100 रुपये में हुआ था, अब ये 90 रुपये में होगा. ये 2 साल में हुआ था, हम इस साल 1.5 साल में करेंगे. पिछले साल हम 20% ग्रोथ लाए थे, इस साल 25 लाएंगे. तो एक हम ना, वी हैव ऑलरेडी यूज्ड अ बेंचमार्क of last year, but that benchmark is not relevant in today's environment because of social media and because of AI particularly, सबको refresh करना पड़ेगा. And हमारे startups के लिए तो बहुत easy है, you are at an advantage. हमारे लिए मुश्किल है because हमको एक existing system को reboot करना है, आपको fresh OS को start करना है, right? तो आपके लिए you guys are at an advantage in today's environment from the basic, but आपको मैं एक ही बोलूँगा कि हमारी मत सुनो. मतलब जो मैं यहाँ पे बोल रहा हूँ इसको सुन लो थोड़ा बहुत, but eventually don't say कि Lenskart ये करता है तो मैं उससे better करूँगा. आप अपना सोचो कि problem क्या है, उसको कैसे solve करना है. Don't use parameters because benchmarks are changing. What generative AI is able to do, you have to start fresh. Problem, what I can think of a solution. इस बीच में आप किसी और को मत लाओ कि कौन कैसे काम करता है, लेंसकार्ट कैसे चलाता है, जोमेटो कैसे चलाता है, ये सब भूल जाओ. अभी आप फ्रेश सोचो. एंड दैट इज, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दिस फॉर थिंग, हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को भी ये करना जरूरी है, नहीं तो हम पीछे छूट जाएंगे. और हमारे लिए बहुत टफ है, टू इरेज ऑल द मेमोरी इन द बैंक इज नॉट ईजी. वी हैव अ बैगेज. तो वही है, आप लोगों को कोई और टेक्नोलॉजी, तो AI इज वेरी पावरफुल, बट सोच बदलनी पड़ेगी. बिल्कुल फ्रेश, fresh तरीके से सोचना पड़ेगा. No relativity.
So coming to fresh thinking, as a shark, as an investor, when you look at startups, what is the fresh thinking that you appreciate and makes you want to invest or get excited about it?
I think non-linearity, I think unreasonability, fresh approach. एक तो while I understand everybody wants to improve their quality of life, सबको पैसे कमाने हैं, but somehow I have a firm belief that great founders and great companies are ones which don't work for money. They work to solve a larger problem and they want to create a bigger impact. And everybody may start like that, but somewhere in the journey, आप flip हो जाते हो. But I still feel as an investor, whether you can make money or not, I am not as good as an investor as you are, and that's not my main job. I end up doing this because I decided to be on Shark Tank a few years back. But all I can say is that the motivation of the investor, of the entrepreneur, to me defines the single most parameter for me of what you can generate in the long term, the impact, not in the short term. I am sure in 10 years horizon, there could be very different ways, but in a 20-30 years horizon, and I think every great business takes minimum 20-25 years in India to build. The only thing that defines is what is the motivation of the investor. Like, are you feeling the pain? Is there a problem that you're trying? अगर मैं अपना एग्जाम्पल लूँ, क्या मैं चश्मा बेच रहा हूँ या वो चश्मा पहन के किसी की जिंदगी में क्या बदलाव आ रहा है, वो मेरे लिए important है. That, and I can't explain this. Like, of course, you can't market this. You have to feel it, right? Because then you decide things like that, you operate like that. So मेरे लिए वो बहुत important है. I like entrepreneurs who do it with heart and not with Excel.
Oh yeah, even I like entrepreneurs with the heart than with an Excel. But are there any specific ideas that excite you? Is there something that you look forward to?
See, I think पूरा अभी तो एक तो मेडिकल का मुझे लगता है कि इंडिया में
When you say medical, you mean longevity? Yeah, overall.
नहीं नहीं मुझे अपनी उम्र नहीं बढ़ानी बहुत ज़्यादा. आई नो दैट, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट, बट टुडे फॉर एन एवरेज ह्यूमन, यू नो, अभी मैं यहाँ आ रहा था, देयर इज समबडी, मेरे घर में समबडी वर्क्स एंड उसके फादर को 1 तारीख को कुछ पैरालिटिक अटैक आया, तो एक साइड उसकी पैरालिटिक हो गई है. वो हॉस्पिटल गया, उसको पास कोई तरीका नहीं है, राइट. अभी मुझे रजत दिख गया स्पंदन से, आई एम एन इन्वेस्टर इन हिज कंपनी. सो व्हाट ही इज डूइंग, राइट, ही हैज डेवलप्ड अ ईसीजी डिवाइस जो कि 2-3 हज़ार रुपये का है, जो नॉर्मली आई थिंक 1-2 लाख रुपए का आता हो. एंड केदारनाथ में आई नो इतने लोगों की डेथ होती है या मैराथॉन्स में बिकॉज ऑफ हार्ट अटैक, एंड दिस गाय रियली फील्स द पेन. You know, I think he cares less about the business, but he has saved so many lives in Kedarnath and marathons by detecting his device, and he has got it US FDA approved. So I think there is a lot of opportunity, because somehow I feel the importance of life in India needs to get higher. You know, I definitely feel it painful when somebody says, यार मैं अपने hospital में अपने dad को admit नहीं करा पाया, तो मैं उनको घर पे ही देख रहा हूँ कैसे मैनेज करूँ, एंड ही इज़ नॉट एबल टू. एंड इन चीज़ों में तो द स्पीड ऑफ द ट्रीटमेंट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट, द मोर यू प्रोलॉन्ग. सो आई थिंक मेडिकल विद AI, विद इंडिया मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, वी कैन रियली सॉल्व सम ऑफ द अनसॉल्व प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड.
Yeah, I think on that note, I really want to thank you. We are run out of time. Peyush, very engaging as always, and thank you for coming for Startup Mahakumbh.
Thank you. Thank
you so
Archana.
much.
Thank you so much for that panel discussion. We're talking about investing long-term, omni customers, keeping customers happy. Please stay here because we need to felicitate our speaker, Mr. Bansal. I request Ms. Jangidar to please felicitate Mr. Bansal. Come on, let's hear for them, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. All the pitches will be outside. No, stay here. We have the next talk, next panel discussion coming up.
All right, guys, start settling in. We're about to move on to our next and a very exciting one, actually. Next session is quite interesting. Please take your seats, settle in. We're just about to begin.
People who are standing on the right side, they can come take the seats here. Some seats are vacant, so you can come and take the seats. People standing there as well, you can take your seats. Kindly settle down because we need to start the next session. How many of you are in startup? Let me see your hands up. How many people are in startup?
Wow.
Okay, lovely. And how many future entrepreneurs? How many of you are planning a startup? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you're planning a startup.
How many
Super.
investors? I'm more interested in that. How many of you all are potential investors?
How many investors are there?
I see some hands at the back.
At the back too. They will be at the back, वहीं से निकल जाएंगे, है ना? निकलना मत, पैसे देकर जाना.
All
right.
Go on. Well, from D2C brands, let's shift our focus, let's shift the gears to another very, very critical and crucial field that promises to transform not just India's economy, but the very fabric of healthcare and life sciences globally. As we envision India at 100 years of independence, few sectors hold as much importance and as much promise for solving humanity's most pressing challenges as healthcare technology and biotechnology. From genomics to precision medicine, from AI-driven diagnostics to sustainable biomanufacturing, Indian innovators are all set to lead this revolution. It's my pleasure to introduce our next panel discussion on Health Tech and Biotech 2047, Fueling India's Innovation Engine with Young Changemakers. To help us navigate this critical conversation, we have with us Dr. Talis Marif Syed, CEO and Director of the Center for Cellular and Molecular Programs, also called CCAMP. Joining Dr. Syed on this distinguished panel are true pioneers and architects of India's biotech vision. Dr. Anand Kumar, co-founder and CEO of Bugworks. Put your hands together as the panelists join us on stage. And Ms. Padmaja Ruparel, co-founder of the Indian Angel Network, the AIN Group. Give it up for her. IAN Group, I'm sorry. Dr. Jitendra Kumar is also joining us on stage along with the esteemed panelists. All right, then, together this panel will be exploring how India can accelerate its biotech revolution, nurture the next gen of scientific entrepreneurs, and position our nation as a global leader in healthcare innovation by 2047. Mr. Anand Kumar, over to you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you so much, lovely host. It's possibly just about still morning, so good morning, everyone. If I'm off by a minute, then it's good afternoon. But welcome you all for this very important session today after this fantastic fireside chat that we had. And we have amazing convergence of three different, stakeholders, if I may say so, in the space of health tech and biotech. But if I may, I think just to get it going, I think how many were in the room for the last fireside chat? If you can have a show of hands, very quickly. I'm trying to make a connection, right? Thank you. What was the last point that Mr. Bansal meant? Mr. Bansal is the CEO and co-founder of Lenskart. But when he was asked as a last question of the fireside chat, what was his interest? He said, how can we build solutions for India which can solve local problems? And he mentioned medical, but it is actually this session that he was priming in a way. He didn't know that, but he was priming this session in terms of how India is absolutely rightly poised to build solutions for biotech and healthcare from India, for India and beyond. So I'm very excited that this was perfectly timed for us to actually set this up. And we have three fantastic panelists with me, and I'm very delighted to moderate this panel discussion. We have Dr. Jitendra Kumar, who is MD BIRAC. We have Dr. Anand Kumar, who is co-founder and CEO of Bugworks, and of course, one of the most famous investors in biotech, Padmaja Ruparel, who leads the effort at India Angel Network and fund that they have. Thank you so much, all of you, being here. So in the next few minutes, what we want to actually probably share with you as different stakeholders coming from the entrepreneurs, innovators, future entrepreneurs, what is that we want, where is it going in terms of the projection of 2047, that is Viksit Bharat? What is Viksit or what is developed country, if I may ask you? A developed country is where its largest part of the population has resources to be educated well, resources to be healthy, and resources to live really a good quality of life. And that can be achieved when you actually build those resources across. There's a population in India that actually has it, but there's also a large population doesn't have it. And that's where Prime Minister's vision is to build this Viksit Bharat. It's not about numbers, my friends. It's about what we are doing for our population as a developed country. Are we going to have a setup and resources to help them in education, in health, in society? And what will help us to get there? It is going to be new innovations. It's going to be science, it's going to be technology, it's going to be biotech, it's going to be health tech, which actually make sure that not only we'll serve the society, but we'll take the economic impact to the next panel and next level. And that is where this panel is actually going to be all about. So let me begin with this thing. The reason of this panel is largely to see from today, if we're going to be talking about next 22 years, what does it take for us to contribute? There is nothing guaranteed. We have to work hard to achieve something. So what does it take for us to contribute towards the larger vision of the Prime Minister in making India Viksit Bharat, not to tell somebody, to ensure that our own population is well served. And that's very, very important. So let me begin in the order that we have. I'll ask Dr. Jitendra, who leads BIRAC, a very important unit of the Department of Biotechnology, set up way back, if I'm not wrong, 12-13, with the vision of supporting the, assisting the research and industrial and academic research and translation and innovation, has done fantastic work. If I may ask you, Rajendra, what would be your, starting comments on this aspect of building a Viksit Bharat, building a country which is truly developed, which has achieved the 100 years of journey, and make every human being which it badly deserves in terms of living in a country which actually provides that capability. So your vision and how that will be contributed to the space of healthcare and biotech.
Yeah. First thing that I want to say about biotech and health tech is that it's it solves some of the fundamental problems of human being, more so in India. Life is now a fundamental right. Right to live actually. Right to live was always a fundamental right, it's nothing like new. But the connotations have changed now. Now, Supreme Court recently has pronounced that right to healthy life is a fundamental right. If government or if society cannot provide a healthy life, then you're violating the fundamental right. So it falls upon the state actually to actually create conducive environment for everybody to live healthy life. And healthy life itself means accessibility to medical devices, diagnostics, drugs, medicines, food and nutrition, good climate. If air is polluted, you are not living healthy life. So all these, branches that we say field of biotechnology, it intersects all these fields, So biotechnology actually intersects at all these points where the healthy life is defined. And that means that even agriculture will come under actually, providing a good living condition. Environmental sciences also. So biotechnology is nothing but a science which intervenes at this point. And innovations in this field is the key to success, not only for the human life in our country, but also the economy. And when we talk about the human lives and the agriculture and the environmental sciences and the other related aspects, we actually combine them in a term called bioeconomy. Okay? So one is the individual life, the other is the economy, bioeconomy. And both are very important, interlinked for the nation's prosperity, national security, etc. As far as BIRAC is concerned, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council is a nodal body of Department of Biotechnology, which funds the innovations in biotechnology. It nurtures the innovation, mentors, guides them, provides conducive environment, creates new funding patterns, new funding programs to to identify the needs, etc., where the funding is required. It maps the innovation ecosystem in the region and sees where the gaps are and tries to fill that gap. For instance, biotechnology innovations require a lot of gestation period. It requires infrastructure. It requires lot of capital. So entry barriers are very high. So therefore, we provide incubation support system across the country. We have hundreds of incubation centers we call BioNest centers across the country. More than 100. Every year we add 20 actually. So it's going to, when we say 2047, we'll have a lot of incubation centers. It's in every institution where research is happening, in industrial parks, in biotech parks. What Taslim Arif, our moderator, is heading is a C camp. Then Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. In North India, we have THSTI, which is a DBT institution. I'm just giving some examples. So these incubation centers provide conducive environment for startups to plug and play and do the proof of concept and, commercialize their ideas and startups and, raise funds, etc. This is one aspect which we have actually tried to lower the entry barrier. Then we have some funding programs in BIRAC. And we have supported some 4,000 or 5,000 startups directly or indirectly. These funding programs starts from the basic ideation phase. So if any individual has an idea, we have a biotech ignition grant. They don't have to even start a company. Although we now have, tried to say, try to move towards, people who have already registered maybe from next 2 years, it will be like that. But so far we have funded individuals also. Ideation, then they go to the incubation centers which are mostly supported by BIRAC, and then they do proof of concept. We have equity seed fund also, which is provided by the startups, by the incubation centers also. And the incubation centers provide them with a lot of other funding mechanisms like Indian Angel Network. Our one of the co-panelists here is Padmaja Ruparil. She has this Indian Angel Network which is connected to many incubation centers. And then we have a mechanism to navigate the regulatory pathway because regulatory pathway is very important for any biotech innovations. It's a valley of death actually, a regulatory pathway. Because if the regulatory pathway is not clear to the individual or a startup, they will not venture into it. Even if they have ventured, the product will not come to the market unless they are navigated fully. So for that, we actually liaison with the CDSCO, the regulators. Then we also have a mechanism of early stage funding, which we called ACE fund, which is fund of funds actually. So that also BIRAC provides. So full spectrum from ideation to commercialization. We have product commercialization grant, we have BIPP, CBD. So at each value chain, we have one or the other support mechanism for nurturing these startup companies. And this I talked about the funding and the incubation center. And the scale-up facility also we provide, because now you must have heard about BioE3 policy. And BioE3 policy provides for the biomanufacturing actually. Manufacturing from the biological side. Biological systems are used for biomanufacturing. And it also connotes the scale-up facility for the companies who have done some proof of concept and they have done pilot studies. Now we provide the full scale-up facilities through biomanufacturing. So I think this is a full spectrum of facilities we provide, and largely due to the efforts of BIRAC, we now have 10,000 startup companies in our country, which we had only few hundreds in 2014. Within 10 years now we have around 10,000 biotech startup companies according to the latest IBER report, Indian Biotech Industry Report, Bioeconomy Report. We have a bioeconomy of US dollar 165 billions now. And by 2047, actually 2030 only, we want to reach to 300 US billion dollar, which is around, now it is around 4.5% of the full bioeconomy. We want to reach to say 10%, and that's what our vision for 2047 Viksit Bharat is. And I think it's a sector which is progressing very high, CAGR of 30% or more. So, and lot of venture capitalists are coming. So next vision we will have is to have these products which are developed by these startups to go global. We must have a global accelerators. We must have a platform where all these products can be e-marketed, because ultimately it's the, you were there in the first session and we talked about how the e-commerce and how the marketing plays a huge role. So even if you have an innovative product, but if you cannot capture the market, the global market, it's of no value. So all these spectrum of, products and services BIRAC is, creating, and it will come up in the future very, very, in the near future it will come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those insights. Very, very helpful. Just to possibly remind you all, I think, what kind of biotech and health tech solutions that are being built. We have new solutions which are built, which have capability of using microorganisms to capture the global warming gases from the atmosphere, right from here, world's top 3. We have solutions being built from here which are saving lives in ICU conditions by preventing ventilator-associated pneumonia. World's only federally or world's only FDA-approved device to prevent VAP. We have devices right now which are about to screen the expecting mothers in the 3rd trimester without using any specialist to say whether fetal heart rate and fetal movement is happening. We have therapies which are being taken to cancer to ensure that we affordable cancer therapy, immunotherapy happens. We have devices which are going to use AI in a phenomenally next manner, which will announce that using the retinal imaging, you can actually predict the chronic kidney diseases and also predict the cardiovascular disease. This is the power of innovation, something that a lot of work that has happened. And something like this, and possibly a little bit notch above, is my friend Dr. Anand Kumar is doing. That is to build a drug which is anticipated to address the global threat of losing 10 million lives a year. That is the antimicrobial resistance or superbugs. So I request Anand to share his phenomenal story, the work that he has done, which is going to be the most important for all of us when it comes to the market and start saving lives on day one. Anand, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasneem. Good morning, everyone. I'm really proud to be here. And as he said, BugWorks, we have an opportunity from India to work on the first novel antibiotic in the last 60 years that the world has seen. And we're also working on oncology solutions. I'm deeply thankful to BIRAC because we started by incubation support from BIRAC and CCamp, where BugWorks is based out of. So before I talk about BugWorks, Tasneem, let me just, for this audience, just take off of some point that my previous speaker said, right? The three most important things that will define your generation when we are 2047 is right to health, right to good air quality, and right to food. No fantastic app in the world that delivers your pizza in 5 minutes can give these three things. As a country in 2047, we are going to be $30 trillion, of which at least 10% of the $30 trillion will come from the biotech space. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are greatly proud of where we have come from, when the British left us, we were less than 1% of global GDP, to where we are now talking about $30 trillion in 2047. Unfortunately, we have to be humbled by the fact that we are one of the most sickest populations with the biggest cardiovascular problems, infection problems, oncology problems, and neurological problems. Air quality in many of our cities, including this city where we are sitting in, is abysmal. We have to be humbled by the fact that we have huge problems of health, huge problems of environment, and khana to be fully sufficient. Right to life, right to health, right to good air, right to food will happen only if the biotechnology sector continues to grow well and deliver like what e-commerce has done for all of us. It's that important. What is most important in our families? It's biotech, right? So when I see the investments happening from BIRAC, from CCamp, I'm really, really happy. So what is amiss, Tasneem? Let's talk about what is missing for biotech to become really fantastic. We went from $10 billion in 2014 to, like he said, to $160 billion in 2024. And we want to go from 160 to 300 billion in 25 and 3 trillion. Phenomenal numbers. But for that to happen, the investment climate in India has to change. And all of us sitting in this panel know about it. Biotechnology needs 10 to 15 years of investment. It's not like delivering an app so that I can have something delivered in my house for 5 minutes. Important things, but they're not game-changing. How do you transform a nation? You transform a nation when we become self-sufficient. When each one of us is healthy, when we make our own drugs, we make our own important value chemicals, we make our own healthy environment, we make our own food. By 2047, I think and I dream of a Viksit Bharat, where we are not depending on United States to solve cancer and then wait like beggars for 10 years for the drug to come here and always complaining that it's an expensive drug. It's an expensive drug because somebody is spending billions of dollars and taking the risk in those countries. No. To be that Viksit Bharat that our Honorable Prime Minister has envisaged, we cannot be dependent on another country for our food, for our air quality, and for the drugs we need to make. We have to keep our people healthy, and we have to innovate. We spend less than 1% of GDP on innovation. That needs to change. We spend less than 2% of GDP on health. That needs to change. All of this talk will go to naught if we don't invest better into R&D. We have to innovate our way out. We have no choice, ladies and gentlemen. Bugworks is one of few companies, thanks to these folks, that are innovating. And if we succeed, we want this new antibiotic to save 30, 40, 50 million lives all over the world, starting with our own